Merry Christmas. If you're listening to this, you are waking up on Christmas Day. We have a special release this week. Typically, we release on Friday, but Christmas is on Thursday this year. So Merry Christmas. Welcome back to a Family Business Podcast. If all of you amazing people are watching us on YouTube, I've got my lights on. Andrea's got her green on, and Brad.
I don't today, but I did at the Christmas party yesterday.
Brad,
I'll
you
have
have
it on
like
tonight.
how many Christmas shirts? Why are you not wearing one?
A lot. Do you want me to go change into one?
Well, before tonight, don't you think you should?
For sure.
Okay.
He'll be pimping it tonight. We are recording on the day of our Christmas party, office Christmas party, and we all know those will be fun. So,
of course.
Bowling is involved.
Bowling, martini lounge. It's shaking up to be a good evening. So, Christmas episode, thinking through what do we want to talk about? Well, we're going to share stories. We've got good ones, especially family stories, but we're also just talk about our favorite things about Christmas. It's personally my favorite holiday for multiple reasons, but let's just break right into it and talk about how does Christmas time compare to when you were younger to it is now?
We just talked about this the other night.
Yeah, we did. I'll let you start, Andrea, because you had some amazing insights.
It's interesting. I used to say it was 100% my favorite holiday. And now I think depending on what day of the week it falls, it may or may not be my favorite holiday. It's my favorite holiday because of the actual true meaning behind Christmas.
Yeah.
But from the standpoint of what's going on, I think Thanksgiving might be more so my favorite. It just seems more relaxed. I just think that the sad thing about Christmas is that it's just become kind of commercialized. And like the things from when you were little, because we have all the things we have about, this should not be such a downer, but I feel like, we have.
Oh, I am going to make this a little bit more exciting. Oh, you can't see me on TV, but I do have Christmas socks on. So
did you just say on TV? Did we get promoted to TV?
Well, TV.
Okay. Anyway, now it's like, just like everything else. I mean, you can constantly be reached. You can access everything. Social media, TV, stream live things. So it's like, I feel like that's kind of encroached upon the sacredness of just being with your family and friends at Christmas time and having no other distractions. And so that's what makes me a little sad about it. But otherwise, I do love Christmas. I'm looking forward to it. It just seems different than it used to.
Here's what I'm going to say. I enjoy Advent at Mass every week leading up to Christmas. But I really think during the week, we get back into the everyday world stuff. And just like Andrea said, it's almost like it's over commercialized now. But I will say Christmas for me officially starts with the bragging rights game. So once we can get to the bragging rights game, which
why don't
those
we
of you that don't know,
explain that to people that don't know?
That is the University of Illinois and the University of Missouri's annual...
Missouri.
No, Missouri.
Depending on where you're from. That is their annual basketball game that's generally played around, the 20th or after. But I kind of joke about that. That kind of gets me in a different mindset where I start relaxing a little bit more, that I know that Christmas is really, really near. And I will say that time frame and I'm like halfway joking about the game, but that time frame.
No, he's not.
Between, you're probably right. Yeah, that's when the Christmas season officially starts.
I can remember trying to plan something and not realizing it was bragging rights game night and being told, "Are you kidding me?"
I mean, who would ever schedule something?
Why would you have a Christmas party on the night of bragging rights?
Exactly. So what I'm getting to though is that it just makes me calm down and realize that, how special of a day Christmas is, right? And that's when I shut things down and I really concentrate on the reason, and I'm not going to use the phrase reason for the season, but celebrate Christmas is Christ, right? And there's all these other distractions in the world, but I really think from past about the 20th on through New Year's is really cool. That those of you that don't know, Christmas is not just one day in the Catholic Church. It lasts all the way through
if you're Catholic,
Epiphany.
January 6th this year.
Is January 6th. So we get like 2 or 3 masses of Christmas music, which is kind of cool.
Okay, I have one other thing to add, PT, and this is really a good one, okay? The other thing is I think this is what else is different about Christmas as an adult versus a younger person. As a younger person for Christmas, I looked forward to eating everything and anything, especially all the sweets, the treats, the cookies, as many as I could fit inside of my body in whatever time frame I had allowable for it. And as an adult, I can't really do that because when you're over 50, your body just handles those things differently.
PT can. We can.
PT will.
to a point, but just to kind of go on that same track, like I never really even grew up around like the nostalgia days of like Christmas, but every time that we went over to grandpa's house or grandparents' house, you know, you had the multicolor lights on the Christmas tree and just seeing those, you know, and now it's like a huge thing on TikTok to see all these like nostalgia Christmas and like the kids playing in the snow or in the street. And I really like that. I think that's Christmas to me. And obviously as time changes and trends change, you get these modern, crazy Christmas things, but that's what I kind of miss about it. And like, we haven't been lucky enough. I remember when we were younger, we would have white Christmases, but we just don't run into it as much. And I thought we were going to have it this year, but I don't know.
Like we're
we have
probably
a big,
not.
muddy, sloppy mess right now,
which is the worst. So just, yeah, that's what's kind of changed for me, is just the nostalgic part. And it's part of just me growing up too, right? You know, Christmas is a whole different thought process when you were younger than it is now, which is pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
You actually understand.
And I will say, growing up too, my mom and dad would always have this other couple over, the Gravitz, and they would come over every Christmas Eve, and they would arrive, you know, about 6:00. They would eat Jim's ribs, and I would not.
Because Brad doesn't eat meat that's on a bone.
Correct.
For those of you that don't know this, and he can't even see the meat come off the bone. He can't.
No.
Even though all meat started on a bone, let's be real.
No. I don't need to see it. And they would be there till usually the mass or the service back then, when we were going to church, then started at 11 p.m. and ended at midnight, which was really cool. And I remember walking out of the church several times with snow falling, and I was so excited to get home that I knew that it was Christmas Day. And you wake up the next morning and Santa Claus came, and it was great.
Santa doesn't come when you're an adult.
No, but you know, I look forward to that at some point too, of bringing that now to my future children, right? And I think that's something that's exciting for me as well, as that comes down the road. But let's talk about how your household is during Christmas. What's one word to describe how the household is?
Are we talking about decor?
Whatever you want. I mean,
I think our house during Christmas season, well, I want to create this little world of like nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
I think we try to do that. I do think that on some levels, it's kind of just chaos most days. Like yesterday when I came home with my Costco haul that I think took up our entire kitchen and took us an hour and a half to put away. But now we're ready for everybody to come. But no, I think
Well, you didn't mention the mattress that you bought that took me an hour to put on.
Anyway, no, I mean, we really try. I mean, we have how many Christmas trees do we have officially now? We have one on the porch, one in the great room, one in the sunroom, one in the
I still have to put the one up on
basement.
the porch. That will happen before
we have one
this
on
airs.
the front porch though too. So we have 5 Christmas trees. And I kind of like that. I like walking around, and I like being in whatever room I am, being able to see a Christmas tree.
So spirit filled. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's a great word to describe that, and I like it. And you got the multicolor lights. That's my favorite.
Well, we can change that tree. We have a remote,
and they've made those so much better, haven't they? I mean, so I always like the C9 bulbs.
Yeah,
but those obviously are a little bit of a fire hazard in your house. And actually, my mom and dad used to have those on a real tree in their great room. So
we used to get a real tree for the first few years of our marriage.
We did.
And then
it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it is.
And I realize like why older people didn't do that, but my parents did all the way up until I was pretty much out of the house, including 12-foot trees that didn't stay up all the time. So my dad actually had to bolt the tree by wire into the wall.
What? So how did you repair your wall after Christmas?
It was just
permanent there. Well, why don't we, while we're on that subject, PT, Brett, how tall is our Christmas tree in our great room this year?
9 feet. I can tell you that for sure.
Yep.
So some of you may have watched, if you follow us on any socials, or all the stories, Instagram story. Brad had a dream this year. I had a dream of a 12-foot Christmas tree in our great room. And Brad tried how many times?
Twice. Yep.
And both, well, the first Christmas tree you spent about 3 hours on fluffing. It was beautiful. It was just so beautiful. And the lights were beautiful. It was just really nice. And then
pieces.
And then he got to the last couple pieces to put it together, and they weren't the right pieces. They didn't fit together. So we shipped it back. We were all excited for 2 nights later to put the new tree together because we got a new one. What happened then, Brad?
Well, I pulled it out of the box this time, so that was good. And they sent 2 boxes, which was great, but they were both the identical pieces. So once again, wrong pieces. So I sent them back. And then we went to Home Depot and bought this 9-foot Christmas tree, which I really do like. And
but it's not 12 foot.
At one time, I had almost $3,000 worth of Christmas trees that I wasn't refunded for. So,
but that's all been
the
worked
good
out.
news is that I spent a lot less money. We spent a lot less money on this tree, and it's a beautiful tree. And 12-foot tree, I think it would have taken up like a lot of room.
Well,
walkway.
on the side note, did you guys see Julie? I laughed at this. You see Julie campaign,
Yes.
Julie Hansen, Peter's wife. So she posted her picture of a tree and she said, "Isn't it lovely?" And she said, "This is a 12-foot tree, but it's not this year because it takes a ladder and it's ridiculous. And so this year it's a 9-foot tree."
Yep.
Because she didn't put all the pieces on.
Yep.
It's just like that sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, and funny story and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Your house, how tall is the tree in your house?
I believe it's a 9-foot.
Yeah, I think that's
9-foot is fills the room up pretty well.
We're gonna have to see which BOEYE gets a bigger tree sooner.
Well, we'll
see. We'll see. Okay, let's talk traditions. We've got a lot of great stories. What is one tradition from your childhood that still sticks with you today?
Oyster stew.
There we go.
Even though I hated it, literally hated it as a child, hated it. It was literally what we had every year for Christmas Eve. We would go to midnight mass, which was actually 10 p.m. I don't quite understand that, but midnight mass at 10 p.m. And you know why we had that? So then mom and we weren't as rushed to eat dinner, early because mom was typically always going shopping on Christmas Eve to get the rest of her presents. And then she would hide upstairs in her bedroom and wrap them all. And then she'd finally come downstairs and then we would eat. And then we'd go to midnight mass at 10 o'clock. And then we'd come home. And then if we were really good kids, we'd get to open one present before we would go to bed.
Yep.
And then as we got older, we got to open all of our presents before we went to bed because Santa would come the next day. But oyster stew. And when us kids got older, we actually boycotted oyster stew. Not that some of us didn't like it, but we explained to my parents that was not enough to sustain us children with all the sugar we were going to eat. So then we incorporated spaghetti in addition to oyster stew, which is what we have now for Nielsen Christmas.
Yeah, and those of you that have not had
Papa Moose's,
Kevin Nielsen's oyster stew, it's wonderful.
You eat the oysters, Brad?
Oh, yeah.
But you don't eat meat on a bone.
Yeah, but I eat the oysters.
But you eat the snotty oysters in the oyster stew.
I don't mind fish.
I like oysters in its shell,
seafood.
PT.
I don't think I've ever had them, and I don't know if I'll have them.
I think you would like it. And then Linda Nielsen's spaghetti. Ooh, Linda Nielsen's spaghetti is really, really good.
Well, you're going to have it.
So my favorite childhood memory, like I mentioned, the Gravitz would come over and...
I didn't think he said favorite. He said one tradition that still holds true today.
Oh, that still holds true today?
Yes.
That was the question, Brad. Pay attention.
Yeah.
I know you're all wrapped up in Santa coming, but...
I am. I'm very, very excited. I think the one big tradition that has maintained is entertaining in our home Christmas Eve night, which I was used to as a child. The only thing we've done is we've reversed it. We go to mass earlier, and then we come home and eat,
because our parents are old.
Which I kind of like better anyway when you're older. But yeah, I mean, that's the tradition that I really like, and to have a good meal on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, mine would be when Grandpa would ask us to come over. He's setting up his big tree in the great room, and he would have this intricate train that goes around, and we would always be there to help out to set that up, and that was always done each year. And now that has been passed on to our tree, and so we set up the train every year. It's a pain in the butt to set up.
I love that tree. When I first started dating Brad and I went to the first Christmas at the old Wildwood house, I remember I was like, this is so cool. But here's my question about that train, PT. What do the dogs do? What do Cam and Wonko do about that
Well,
train?
we hide it behind the tree, and luckily there's enough going on when the kids are playing with it on Christmas. They leave it alone.
Well, that was the one deal that you and Eli inherited. Was I was always the one that helped him do it when I was younger. So that job got passed on to you guys.
And then now we set up once a year, and Grandpa always asks about it, and it doesn't work as well as it did back then. It's not playing the music. I mean, it was very intricate. It was awesome. It was very cool. But we still set up to this day. So that's definitely a tradition that's stuck to this moment. Now let's flip it. Funny or most memorable Christmas moments growing up.
Well, mine's not actually, I mean, it is Christmas, but it's not Christmas. And if I think long enough, I'm sure I can figure out something on that, but it's Christmas related. So in my house, we lived in a 200-year-old farmhouse, and I had the only bedroom on the main level, which meant I had direct access to potentially see Santa Claus. So I also had direct access to potentially see the Easter Bunny. So anyway, I was a little stinker as a child, very spirited, as my mother would say. So anyway, one Easter, not Christmas, but one Easter.
Wait a second. As a child, you were?
That's enough. So I went out and, checked out because I just got tired of getting candy that I didn't like. So I went out one Easter and I went through all the Easter baskets and I switched candy around so I could make sure I got what I wanted. And then it was equal amounts, but I just switched the stuff to my basket I wanted. Well, that then resulted in my parents that Easter morning giving me the stink eye the whole time while we were finding eggs and doing all this. And then I got pulled into my bedroom.
Uh-oh.
And they said, Andrea, did you move stuff in the baskets? Well, I couldn't lie. So I said, yes. But how did you know? I mean, the Easter bunny put in there. Andrea, there's no Easter bunny.
Oh, goodness.
And I said, oh, wait, there's no Easter bunny. Does that mean there's no Santa Claus either? My mother, yes, Andrea, there's no Santa Claus either. That was like one of those.
That'd be pretty memorable. Yep.
But I mean, in my parents' defense, I feel like I was 12, 13, probably. I think they were just trying to hold on for my younger sisters. But anyway, yeah, that was one of those moments when I look back on that and I laugh so hard that. And the other thing we used to do is we had a grate, because that's the other thing. I then got forced to have to sleep upstairs with my sisters on Christmas Eve because then I couldn't see the stuff that was going out. So there was a grate that would come the cold air return, but It was in between the two floors. So we would purposely go and try to hide and look through that grate to see if we could see Santa Claus, which I knew there wasn't one, but my sisters were still looking for it.
Yeah, play the game. I get it.
Yeah, mine was Christmas Eve. My parents, when I was really young, they had a friend that was Santa Claus. And, that was back when I really believed. I mean, I believe in Santa Claus still, the spirit of it all.
Well, sure, everybody does.
But
nobody comes down your chimney.
This guy would
Santa Claus comes, but no guy comes down your chimney.
Right. This guy would come to our house and he was really good at it. And I remember that as a kid, and it's always stuck with me. I mean, just the joy of Christmas. It was Mr. Joe Phillips.
That's funny. Yeah. I forgot one other thing too, PT. I'm sorry, you didn't get to tell yours, but I also remember, so we weren't allowed sugar or cereals, candies, any of that stuff as kids or pops, but we did obviously get treats for Christmas. But I also had this pseudo aunt and uncle, kind of like what we are to the Catherine kids, Bob and Lori. It was my dad's best friend and his wife, and they didn't have kids. So we were like their kids. So one of the things for Christmas that I always remember and I loved, they would bring us each a 12-pack of pop.
Oh,
nice.
And I usually got Grape Crush. My brother got root beer. And we thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
That's a good treat.
Good memories.
Good surprise. I've got two real quick. One goes back once again, the staple for me, just thinking about Christmas is at Mimi and Papa's Wildwood house. But this is when, and I think this day I wore a circle in the carpet and the flooring of how many times I stopped by the kitchen. But as everybody's opening the presents, I would, once I opened my present up and then I'd realize everybody's focus would chip off, I would sneak over to the kitchen. Grandma had her tier of cookie trays and I would just sneak a cookie. I probably had 7 or 8 that day.
That's nothing.
And, that's a great memory. The best memory and the funniest is that my younger brother and I were pretty competitive when we were younger. And I got a Wii for Christmas, and he was not happy that my name was on the Wii, even though my parents explained that you both can use it. This is both yours. And he went to the drawer, grabbed scissors, and cut the power cord of the Wii because it wasn't his. So that just sums up my brother too.
Well, and not only that, but I don't know if it was my first, second, third Christmas with the BOEYE family. I don't think we were married yet. Maybe we were. But I remember you and Eli, similar situation. I believe there was a bunch of gift cards that could not be found. And then we found out that Eli got mad at you for something. So he took all your gift cards and threw them away.
Yep. Yeah. It was funny because
you got more.
We're 4 years apart. So you'd think that there was a big enough age gap where some of the gifts would be, you would be entertained by certain gifts. And that just wasn't the case. He had to have what I had, which
Eli
is still the case to this day, which I love him for.
He's getting a Tesla then?
No, he won't do that. He's got his truck, so he's happy. Let's play a quick game, rapid fire, okay? Favorite Christmas movie? And you can give a little explanation if you want.
Christmas Vacation, because that was my dad growing up. It was him to a T. He was all in, or is still actually at the age of 84, 83. Yeah, so that's why.
Well, we didn't have cable, so we're different. And this seems weird, but Sound of Music was my favorite Christmas movie because they always seem to play it around the Christmas time, probably because we're all out of school and they had to put something on the TV for us to watch. So I loved Sound of Music.
Mine, number one overall in all time is Home Alone by not even close.
That's a good movie.
But an honorable mention, I don't know why, but this movie has always grown on me, but The Grinch. And I don't know why, but the movie's just kind of grown on me. I thought it was the stupidest, dumbest
What's the
movie
little
ever.
girl's name in The Grinch?
Susie Lou.
Yeah, Susie Lou or whatever.
Yeah.
I did like The Grinch
Who's.
too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's grown on me. Okay, favorite Christmas food or drink?
Favorite Christmas
Well, when I
food.
could eat them cinnamon rolls in the morning on Christmas Day. Big fat ones.
I would agree with the cinnamon roll thing.
Christmas breakfast is always special, right?
Of
It's
course,
amazing.
Yeah.
My grandma also used to make this. This is definitely mine for sure.
Yeah.
She used to make this like flaky apple cherry streusel thing. It was almost like I don't know. It was like layered, like people call that bafka or what is that stuff? The one balaka. Or what? I don't know.
The Middle Eastern.
Yeah, but anyway, it's all this huge cookie sheet. It would lay on
baklava.
Baklava. It would be on grandma's dishwasher that was not hooked up because back then you had a hose you hooked to your sink.
Yep.
And they would be right on there, and she had the best like cream cheese icing, and they'd be all hot, and we would all, just like you, PT, we'd go in the kitchen like when we're wrapping gifts, and we would pick and grandma would come out, she'd be like, where'd all the frosting go?
I've always been a sucker for candy canes. I love peppermint anything.
Yeah.
So that was always a big one at Christmas.
Drink, I'd have to hot cocoa obviously always is just better around the holidays, colder and so forth. Yeah. But I just like beef tenderloin, I think is phenomenal on Christmas too, just because Thanksgiving is more of your turkey, your ham. But
I'm going to have to say one other thing too, shrimp cocktail.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
A shrimp cocktail. Yeah. And it's always phenomenal. And horseradish sauce, all that good stuff. Okay. Favorite Christmas song?
Mine is a current Christmas song. I love the drummer boy song that Casting Crowns does for Christmas. I literally, it was on the radio last night after Costco and I was blaring it. I love it. I could listen. Or I'm also the Bells on Christmas Eve, and that's Casting Crown too, I think. Yeah. No, Little Drummer Boy one is for King Country, and then Bells on Christmas Eve, it's Peace on Earth, I think, by Casting Crowns.
Mine is Holy Night.
But who sings it?
Well,
Who's your favorite?
There's a lot of renditions I really like. I mean, Andy Williams.
I was going to say, come on,
but
Andy Williams.
Best modern version is Josh Groban, I think. It's very good.
That's what Christmas music is. There's so many great different avenues of it, but just the classic modern Christmas music that was two completely opposite things. Classic nostalgic Christmas music is the absolute best, and there'll be times where I'm just like driving, I'm just have to put on some old Christmas music, but this one is also just something I grew up with. My grandpa always would joke around with this song, but Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer, and they actually had like a stuffed reindeer that would always play that, and that always was played around the holiday time, so that always has good memories attached to that too.
How about I want a rhinoceros for Christmas? I want a What is it? Isn't that how it goes?
Hippopotamus.
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
There's so many good Christmas songs.
Now, Silent Night too. Walking
Silent
into the
Night's
church,
great.
especially Lord's for service and the candles, and they don't have the lights all the way on. That's really nice.
I'm just not the biggest fan of like covers of these two.
No.
Like you have to go way
You
back.
got to go back.
You got to go back to Bing. You got to go back to all these people.
Andy Williams.
Yes.
No, Brad, that's not how you say it. Why are you?
Andy Williams. Frank Sinatra.
Yep.
Excellent.
Oh yes.
Christmas. Johnny Mathis. I mean, those are the classics. Bing Crosby, of course. Yep.
Okay. Now, during the holidays, do you prefer a quiet home or a chaos ensued, family filled home on Christmas?
On Christmas, I prefer a little bit of chaos. Christmas Eve, I prefer a little bit more intimate, quiet. During the holidays, just in general, just a little bit more quiet, so I can just reflect.
Yeah, it's funny. Good thing we're married. I would agree with Brad. I like the chaos in short bursts.
Yeah.
But then I just like to sit on my couch with a glass of wine or hot chocolate or whatever and just admire the Christmas lights.
That's why I really think that Christmas Eve, I mean, I love Christmas Day, but Christmas Eve, I mean, we have a pretty good tradition here that once we get the dinner done, we're really relaxed and, just.
What do you do on Christmas Eve at your house, PT?
We go to my mother's side and just a normal Christmas day, essentially, on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
This will probably change in 10 years, but I love the chaos. I just love everything. Like I just like the running around and mainly because I'm not responsible for anything, right?
100%. 10 years it will change.
And that will change. But just the chaos of Christmas Day, kids running around hyped up on sugar. I love that. Then again, Christmas Eve, like you as a kid, you were always like, you couldn't go to sleep, you're trying to go to sleep as quick as possible to wake up earlier in the morning and so forth. There's so many great things about the holidays. Let's talk about Christmas within our family business. Okay. What does Christmas look like when you work in a family business?
Well, there's not an off button. We were just chuckling about this because in addition to our clients, we had a client this morning that had a final walkthrough. She's closing on Friday. We're so happy before Christmas, and she's going to move in and be in her house for Christmas. And that's exciting. But when you have a business, especially a family business, and we all work together, like someone still has to be responsible, right? Like, I mean, you try your best to set restrictions, especially Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Those are just off limits for work stuff. But I mean, I can still remember that when you went to show a house on Christmas Eve, it was like our first really expensive listing. Like, I don't know how many years ago. Well, I was still working. So, I mean, in my other job. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, 2007-ish, 6-ish. Yeah. And it was Christmas Eve and they wanted to see at the time, $1 million house. I mean, you got to go, right?
Yeah.
Well, and completely off topic, but like Christmas Day supposedly is like one of the busiest days in real estate because not everybody celebrates Christmas.
Yeah.
And
but
so
they're all off work.
Right. And they're all off work. I saw that the other day. I thought that was pretty interesting. But family, I mean, we're all celebrating together. We see each other. Nothing really changes despite the just being together on the holidays and actually being more with your actual family. But there's times where you can just, hey, it's Christmas. Let's turn
relax.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like everyone looks at us like, are you guys ever going to stop talking about real estate?
Yeah. Well, and part of that's caused by my dad, right? I mean, he even asked because he's just kind of curious how everything's going. So whenever we get together as a family, he asks about it and it just prompts conversation.
But I was going to say that because you said this earlier and we kind of skipped this question a little bit. But like the thing that I think is like another reason why it's different is like when you're younger, like school's out and you just literally have no responsibilities, right? It is stay up late, watch Christmas movies, play games, play in the snow, sled, hot chocolate, all the things, right? And when you're an adult, I mean, you still have to work and have responsibility. So I think that makes it hard, but it is cool to watch the kids. And that's why, again, going back to Thanksgiving, this Thanksgiving was different because we got all that snow. So it's kind of like Christmas on Thanksgiving because that's what the kids did was go sledding and I made them hot chocolate and that's fun.
I think we kind of touched on this a little bit too, but has business, and we just talked about this, has business ever made the holidays more stressful or more meaningful?
I think that's twofold. I think that it makes it more meaningful because it's so cool. Like for people when they have their first home and they post pictures or they send you pictures, their first Christmas and their new home. I think that's great. But it also makes it more stressful because it is just trying to figure out, people still have to, for some of the reasons outside of just want to move, as we've talked about, they have to move. Right. And so you have to work because they have to find a home because they need to, not just because they want to.
Well, I think there's both, right? I mean, there are definitely people that have to move, and that adds some stress not only to them, but to yourself, to put pressure on yourself to help them out over this time when you've got your hands in multiple different pots. But it's also meaningful because, like you said, you get to kind of hear or see all of the amazing things kind of unfold from the past year of somebody that bought even with you in January, right?
Yeah.
They're probably touching base with you. Hopefully you're touching base with them, just to kind of thank them and ask how everything's going.
I'm going to say less stressful. And the reason why is just when you're getting to the end of the year and you're looking back at the year and all the clients that you've helped, and it just gives you a lot of gratitude. So I'm going to say for me personally, it's less stressful.
Except for when we are dating and not married and you get calls on Christmas Eve to show houses.
Yeah. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, those are,
a different season of life.
I would agree.
Awesome. Well, we have so many good stories and I don't think we're going to be able to touch on every single one. Is there anything else that you guys want to share a story out before we sign off?
Well, I was thinking about this and I think about this all the time. I think it's super cool. And I remember this with my family. Like I was blessed enough to have both sets of grandparents growing up. So I have memories of Christmas as a both. And I also think it's super cool because my family figured out that it doesn't need to be crazy stressful and jam everything into Christmas itself. At a simple age, Christmas is wherever you want it to be and make it to be. And so the meaning of it. And so we used to have my Kurt, which was my mom's family Christmas, on Thanksgiving weekend. So I can remember going up there on Wednesday. We would all stay at that house, and we'd have our Thanksgiving, but that Friday, Saturday was our Christmas. So we did gifts and we hung out. We were all together for 3-4 days and went to movies and all the things in the supper club and whatever. And then Christmas itself was just, we had our traditions of Christmas Eve was always our little thing. And Christmas Day was at Grandma and Grandpa Nielsen's, which was 2 cornfields and bean field away. And I miss those days, the simpler things, right?
Well, I think you could say as well that for your nieces and nephews, our nieces and nephews, that, having Christmas here after Christmas is kind of cool too. So they almost get 2 Christmases.
Yeah, we kind of made that same rule. Yeah.
Same thing there, where we tried to do it. I think at one time, it may not have all been on the same day, but real close. But then we just do the Saturday after Christmas now, and it really works out well.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that wraps us up for Christmas.
You don't have any fun other stories besides your brother?
Yeah, it all circles around my brother and I. Yeah, there's so many. I think my brain just can't really produce one.
What's about a favorite Christmas gift that you ever got?
I know I have an iconic picture of Brad. He was opening and it was wrapped. Can you remember what you're opening potentially? It was a box of glass bottle Heineken. You're opening on one Christmas Eve. We have a picture of that in our books.
Who gave you Who gave you a?
I don't know, but that's what I drank in college.
Yeah, so that was
funny.
we have a picture of that.
Heineken and Bud Light,
And favorite gift.
Yeah,
well, it's so funny because we always talk about it now too. Is that like I'm in the stage where you're asking for all these things, toys, technology, growing up, and now it's like, well, I need socks, I need underwear,
purposeful things.
I need something for work and so forth. Favorite gift. Well, it was the Wii until my brother cut the cord. But no, the craziest thing. So back in the day, there are these things called fatheads. These large, like sports, like athletes that they would stick on your wall. Santa was going through a trend of getting that for us, but we would wake up and they'd be on our wall, which was pretty crazy.
That is kind of crazy.
Cool.
So mine I already said was the pop, but also I remember, so we didn't have a lot growing up, and we've talked about this before. And I remember Cabbage Patch Kids were like the biggest thing in the world, right? And so I remember the Christmas that we woke up and we all, again, we didn't know any different because the world was not what it is today. We all thought we got Cabbage Patch Kids because they had made it at the fabric stores where you could buy the Cabbage Patch Kid head. And then you had to like stuff and sew the body and make some clothes. So my mom had done that for all of us. So we all got Cabbage Patch Kids. And I just remember like, it was just like, we were the most elated children ever.
That's awesome.
Or the dollhouse my dad made, which still lives at Grandma and Grandpa's.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's literally like, if you're watching us, it's like bigger than this table and probably 3 feet tall. And my dad literally, instead of the plastic Barbies, it's like a handmade dollhouse. And it has sliding plexiglass doors, and it has, it's the coolest thing. I remember seeing that and thinking that was
as a kid, cool. My favorite gifts were always video games.
Yeah. We didn't have that.
Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
I don't even know what that is.
What was the one after Sega Genesis?
You didn't have Atari?
PlayStation.
Yeah.
I had an Atari that my brother, who would be your dad, had. But that was like in the early 80s. But by the time that I got my Nintendo, that was probably mid 80s.
Yeah. We had a used Atari.
Really cool.
It was from Bob and Lori, the ones we were talking about. Yeah. They brought us a used Atari. We thought that was cool too. So yeah,
very cool.
The times have changed. Too,
yes,
on gifts and the elaborateness and so forth.
For sure.
Have you seen the videos on social media of the wife reading off their kid's Christmas gift and they have to guess the price? It is the funniest thing you'll ever see. These dads are about to have a heart attack on screen. It's like, a bike. And he's like, oh, a bike should be like, $250, $300. And she's like 3,000. And they just, it's great.
Well, have you seen the reels? And this is hilarious. The ones where they're doing the mom's opening the gift and the mom is in on the joke and she's opening the box and it's a rock. Have you seen these yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay, you have to go research this.
Oh, yes, the anthropology rock. Yes.
And literally that one mom, she is like in tears. She's like, I can't believe it. And the dad is like, are you kidding? That's a rock.
I think that would be so hilarious if I did that with my mom. My dad would
do it.
Absolutely lose it. If
do
he
it. Do it at this. Do it at this one.
I should.
Do it at BOEYE Christmas.
It's a $500 rock. This is, and the whole thing's I got it on sale and so forth.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, social media is great during the holidays. Well, I think that's it. We wish you all a Merry Christmas, safe travels, good health, and we are just thankful that we're able to be together because we know there's probably a lot less unfortunate people than us.
Yes. Thankful for all of our blessings. And the next time you hear from us, it'll be 2026. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
There we go. Peace.
Peace.